Good evening, guys. We'll start the class. Uh, Today, what we'll do is we'll start with the arrays and we'll cover the loops in within arrays. Mainly, there are two types of arrays are there: one-dimensional and two-dimensional, and it can be a multi-dimensional. And we can have two types of arrays, that is static array and dynamic array. We can have arrays in one dimension, two dimensions, or it could be a multiple dimensions. Only two things to remember about the arrays. Either we can have a static or dynamic, and we can have one dimensional, two dimensional, or multi-dimensional array.
Can all of you hear me first? I think you have to speaker. On speaker mode.
No, you have to turn on the speaker on your computer screen.
If somebody wants to come on the conference line, then I can switch on the conference also. If they are not able to hear it properly, then I can.
কেন বলবো?
আমার কথা শুনে ফেললো না যেভাবে
ওটা বন্ধ করে রাখলে কেউ শুনতে পারো?
Okay, now I'm on telephone conference line also available. Okay, there are mainly two types of arrays are there. One is static and another is dynamic. Static array is something that we can in the design time itself we can hard code the uh, uh, upper bound of the arrays, as well as in the dynamic array we pass the upper bound during the runtime. Runtime means while we are executing the application, in the execution itself we supply the uh, dynamically upper bound of the array. Here in arrays, upper bound means the maximum limit it can go to, and lower bound means it starts usually with 0. Otherwise, we can explicitly mention what is the lower bound you want, either 0 or 1. So let us see practically how array looks like. We already know how to declare variables. X as integer, name as string, DOB, date of birth as date, and so on. Arrays are nothing but upgraded version of this declaration. Here we can have only one value. Arrays help us to store multiple values in a single variable. How we use these variables? X is equal to 45. We can assign the value, only one value at a time. Okay. Name is equal to XYZ. Same way, date of uh, DOB is equal to date. So this is how we use the variables. But when we come to the arrays, just by adding instead of x, this time I'm using int x, and for arrays just open bracket, close bracket, and within this mention the upper bound. Means how many variables you want to, how many values you want to store in this x. Let me start with 2 as integer. So you guys already know that uh, in integer we can store only numbers, and variable name can be anything. Here I can mention x, y, z, anything. Anything I can mention, but it should not be repeated, or it should not be from the reserved word of the Microsoft or MS Access or VBA. In text. Here, let me get rid of this in this one at a time. So here what we did for x, we are setting the value as 45. For int x, how we have to enter the value is int x of 0 position. Do you see 0 to 2 as integer? So first use 0. This is the lower bound, is equal to, let me start with 77. Int x of 1 is equal to 88. Int x of 2 is equal to 99. This is how we set the values for the arrays. So there is no much difference between a variable declaration and a array. Arrays help you store multiple values, whereas variables we can only provide one value. I believe this is not a confusing like loops. Now when we want to retrieve the value of x, we directly say message box or otherwise we use the label like yesterday. Okay. So LBL results dot caption is equal to x. This is how we retrieve the value. Let us test it once again. Okay. Now let us see how we can do the same thing for index, for the arrays. It's very simple, just need to remember LBL results dot caption is equal to int x of 0 for retrieving the value 77. For 45, what we did, only we mentioned x because it cannot store more than one value. But arrays can hold more than one value, or the number we can, upper limit we can specify here. So let us see what is at 0. Okay, we are in a wrong event. Can you see? It is in got focus. We need to have a click to work on click. Okay, so it returned 77. Now I'll copy and paste, and this time I'll disable this code and I'll make it as 1. Now the result should be 88. Okay, and when I make it 3, then result should be 99. Yes.
It has to be 2. Int x2 will be 99, right?
Oh. Yes, thank you. So this is how we retrieve the values from arrays, and this is how we set the values in arrays. But we'll see, actually we'll implement the loops in this arrays. Okay. So I believe you guys understood this part. Is there any confusion? I want answer from everyone. Is everyone understood this part?
I have a question.
Yeah.
What is the purpose of labeling x as equal to 45?
We are setting the value for x. X can hold a integer value. So that's why we are setting the value of x. We can give only one value. And integer can hold up to 32,700. So from minus 32,700 to positive 32,700. Okay, integer can hold. So we are asking x to hold 45 right now. and this we can uh, declare here also 45. So suppose if we want to have arrays for holding 11 values, then we have to mention 10. Always one, because it's going to start by default, it is going to start from 0. So 0 and this 10, total 11 values it can hold. When you mention 5, it can hold up to 6 values.
Okay.
And any other question? And any other question in arrays? Like we did not finish yet, just we are in the static arrays. Yeah, go ahead. Mhm. You mean yes? Mhm. That is why loops. That is why loops are introduced, right? If we keep on typing, it will take 51 lines of code. But if we take loop, it will be hardly 4 or 5 lines. So now let us see how we can implement one of the loops with arrays. And let me take 9 here. So we'll have total 10 values we can store. For x, oh sorry, we cannot take x is already defined. Uh, I is equal to 0. Lower bound of the array is always 0 until you specify explicitly. And for explicitly, let me finish this, 0 to 9. Upper bound is 9. Okay. And next, here, this is also interview question. Option base 1 means we are not going to have the lower bound of array as 0. We are going to have 1. If we don't mention anything, by default it is 0. Okay. So option base, what does option base uh, what does the option base do? It sets the lower bound of the array. In couple of interviews this question was asked. Okay. So now we are looking at the loops. For when we want to use the for, then definitely with for we need to use next. And here we need to mention the start point and the end point. In other loops we don't have to, and we don't have that option. And if we have to skip or we need to have alternate rows or alternate if we have to skip every other loop, then we need to mention as step 1 or step 2. Okay, now 0 to 9. First we'll set the values. How we'll set? Int x of, we'll give I here. Instead of writing 0 1 2 3, we'll write int xi is equal to whatever value, we'll take another loop here. I'm taking another loop for z is equal to 50 to 59. Next. We are having a loop in a loop. First loop is going for the position of the array. Second loop we are generating for the values. Let us see this. Okay, now I is empty. When I click, and from here you can continue or you can press F5. आप खामोश बैठो बोलो. So first loop we are using for setting the position of the array, and second loop we are using for the values to set on that position. On a particular position we are setting the value. So for 0 position it's going to be 50, and for 9th position, 10th position it's going to be 59. Now what we have, I is equal to 0. So here I is 0 and z is 50. Now next time when it comes, it becomes 1 and this will become 51. Oh, sorry. What will happen is, in this loop, this is the wrong example actually, because it is once it comes here, it's going to loop for 10 times. Then it's going to come for the second loop, and again it will go for 10 times, and third time again it comes, and same this way it will go for 100. So this is not a best example for this. I'll make it little bit different. Yeah. Z is equal to z plus 50. So 0, now Z is 50. Next time oh, Z. The same thing with everyone. Let Can you see now? What about others? Are they able to? Is your screen getting updated? You are seeing the breakpoint. Can you see my mouse moving?
Yeah, we can see it.
Is it fine? Okay. Okay. Now it came for the second time, and now the value of I became 1, and Z should be 50 plus 50, 100. Got it? 50. Earlier in the first step, it was 50. Now it's 100. So next time it will be 150 and so on. This is the second position. At second position, we are storing 150. So no, I disabled it. I disabled it. And finally, we'll stop on this message box. Index of any value. Okay, so 2 and 150, and same way 3 and 200, and so on it will go. So finally I became 10, and it is 500. So now let us see what the message box is going to say. At in text sixth position, it's 350. Can you guys see that 350? I'll change it to 4. Nine. If I use 10, what will happen? Subscript out of range, because our upper bound is 9, and 0 should be 100, right? 1 should be 100, yeah, and 0 should be 50. So you guys got static array and for loop. Have you guys understood for loop? Everyone please confirm static arrays and for loop.
Yes.
Very good. Yes, sir.
Okay, that's great. So today we are going good. Okay. Now, what are the other loops available? Do while and condition I less than or equal to 9. And we have do until I equal to 9. And we have while I less than or equal to 9. Okay, these are the four. Let me open the document. You guys got a chance to look at the loops today? Have you guys opened the documents? Anyway, this is for next loop, do while loop, do until loop, for each loop, and while loop. And this is explicitly for we can use it for controls, and other loops we can use as usual. Do while loop. And how can we implement here? First, we need to mention I should start with 0. Then what we want to do is we want to set the value here. Same thing. We'll repeat the code. But also we need to increase the value of I. It doesn't increase the value by itself. So I is equal to I plus 1. Is there any confusion in this part? When you use do while, then we have to use loop. And we should give a condition. Condition is we want to check if I is less than or equal to 9, then it should exit. It should work until I reaches 9. And here we are increasing the value of I every time it's coming into the loop. Is there any confusion in this do while? Okay. We are using the same code what we used in the for loop. Just we need to uh, increase the value of I whenever it comes into the loop. We need a counter to be increased for other loops. Other than for, we need to increase the loop counter. Okay, it has like before we can come here, it has already set the values. See, at position 8, it is 450. position 0. 50. Okay. Same results we are getting in do while loop also. Let us see the upper bound. Okay. So do while loop. I will disable this and we'll have another loop for the same array. We also have while loop. In while loop and do while loop, there is only a one difference is there. That is, we can have in do while we can have condition on the top as well as we can have the condition at the bottom. That is the only difference between while loop and do while loop. Otherwise, it's same. Let us check this one. While should end with when. While ends with when and do while loop. So let us see the upper bound is 500. Result is same as what we have in do while. So you guys got do while and while loop. Is there any questions in these loops? And we'll take more complex loops going further. In the future classes, you'll have more complex. But right now, I want you guys to understand arrays and loops. And remember, if you have to be perfect in one of the loops, definitely you have to be good in at least one loop to survive as a VBA. And these are the loops which can help you loop into the tables. Right now we don't have any tables, but I'll give you one example here. Right. We need at least one loop. We should be good in at least one loop. Suppose we have some 100,000 rows and each row has some 100 columns, and client asks you to look for a word Sharma, and they want to count how many times this Sharma is appearing in the whole table. At that time, loop is going to help you do that. There are, of course, there are some other options are there, like you can use select statement and get that. But just for an example, let us say you are working on a Excel sheet. On Excel sheet, you have some 100,000 rows are filled with 100 columns, and you are looking for a word. Loops are going to help you to loop into all the 100,000 rows as well as in 100 columns. Right now it's very simple, just we are having 10 static arrays and it's not taking time. In Citigroup, we have uh, one database was in United Kingdom, and we need to update US database every week. That used to take 8.5 hours, and we used the loops to get the specific data from the UK database. So you have to be good in at least one loop, and right, because there were so many every week so much data was updated. So for loop, do while loop, and while loop is over. So we'll look for the do until loop also here. Result is little bit different here. Just will not have the upper bound 9 value, but we'll have the rest of the values. Yes. Here we have loop, and this is do until. Okay. Hmm. Okay, it did not work because we are using less than sign, so it doesn't work. To have 9, we need to go for 10 here. Okay. And at 9, what is the value? 500. And what is the value at 0? It's 50. Okay. So this is the difference between do while and do until loop. So are you guys sure that you got this loops now? At least understood how the loops work? Good. So shall I go for another? This we have seen for the integer. The same way we can have this arrays for string values also. Yeah. Especially we. Mhm, mhm. For that, we have to learn ADOs to connect to the tables first. Then we can use there, and definitely we'll use in the future classes. Yeah. We don't know everything, so that is why what you guys know, I'm limiting to there. Like examples are limited this time. So if we want to hold the names or any string, then we have to just instead of integer declare it as a string. If you want to hold dates, then declare it as dates and so on. If you want a byte, you can have a byte data type. Okay. Do you want to see the example for this? Okay. I'll show a small one. Let us have 3. So here we cannot use any loops because it's not a number, and names we have to hard code it here. What is the upper limit is 3. In at 0 position, we'll have. Can you guys say some names? Let me have this. So we can assign the same way as we have assigned earlier, and we can retrieve the same way as we have retrieved earlier. Okay, at 0 position it's Jung now, and at let us see at position 2. Okay, position 2 it's RF. Can you see position 2 RF? Position 0 Yumna. If I make it 3, it should return earphone. Any confusion? Did I share the database today or only documents? Yeah. Oh, yeah. So database is there. So you guys already have the examples. Yeah, it recorded, but I was unable to convert it, and I was very sleepy, so I did not try much. Today I'll try. So here in loops, you'll find some examples. For each control, and some of them are here and some of them are here. This is select case. So, and arrays are here. Maybe these are the static arrays. which we have seen today, the same example. Just instead of a message box, I'm adding it to the label. That's it. And just I'll give an overview of a dynamic array. Dynamic array is same as a static array. The only difference is we don't specify the upper bound at design time. We redeem it in the runtime to specify the upper bound, and that could be from a variable. From somewhere we'll pass the variable and we'll redeclare the array. That is dynamic array. The only difference is we don't specify in the design time. We pass it in the runtime with a statement called redeem and the name of the uh, array, date and time, the date and time array. That is the only difference between a dynamic array and static array. Even the words itself, like a term itself says that static means it's an uh, assigned one in the design time, whereas dynamic is we can set it anytime, anywhere, from anywhere. And usually this is in use, and static may or may not be in use because we don't know how many rows a table will be having, how many cells Excel files is holding. Only in the runtime, only when we click the button, then only micro goes and check how many rows are there in a table or how many cells are there uh, in the Excel sheet. Then we update the array, and we can use a loop to update that dynamic array. And here I took date and time, and date add is a function, built-in function provided by Microsoft Access. For that we need to pass what you want to add. Like if you want to add date, then you need to specify D. If you want to add month, then you need to specify M. Here X is upper bound of the array. Like how many days you want to add. This is a integer value. How many times this goes in the loop, it is going to add that many days. And this is the today's date. So what it's going to do is for first time it's going to add the current date, then in the second time it's going to add one more day, and so on, so on, so on. Here VBCRLF is a function which every time it adds a new line. We'll see this tomorrow, but anyway, here is the result for this: 28, 29, 30, 31, and 1st February. So if you guys understood that dynamic array should be declared like this, and in the runtime will pass the value. This is how we pass a parameter or a argument to a procedure, right? Procedure or function. The same way we are passing the upper bound for a dynamic array. So just don't get confused, and it's very easy. Just focus on it. You're not making anything different. Just Instead of declaring it in the design time, you are declaring it in the runtime. And if you see, I'm sending 5 from the calling procedure. I'm calling this procedure in the click button event, and I'm passing 5. This could be 50, 500 at the runtime. So this is about the arrays for today, but tomorrow we'll see dynamic arrays again. And I think here are some examples on loops. This select case, and there should be some more should be there. Okay, it's here in the loop form. Okay, this is for each control for each loop, and this is for do while loop. This is for do until actually. Okay, I disabled the do while and made it do until. You can put a comment here and you can uncomment this one, so it gives the result same way. And for next loop is here. And I believe you guys still remember what is the difference between by val and by function, by ref. That example is again here, but procedures are in the module. By val and by ref. Okay. I think better I can show it here. Here, see the message by val. We have executed by val. X value is equal to 10 and result returned by the function is 30. And when I pass the by ref, then it has changed the X value to 30 instead of 10. It should be 10 actually. But that function has updated this X value. We'll see the function, and here are the by ref function. If you see, the function is same. There is no change in the function except the declaration is by val and by ref. When we pass the value by ref, then it modifies, function modifies this X value what we have passed. Whereas when we pass by val, it won't be able to change the value of this one. And when we pass by ref, it goes into the memory location and it changes in the memory. And the last thing what I want to discuss today, are you guys okay if the class is extended, or shall I stop the class for today? What about others?
I think this is good for today.
Okay, no problem. Tomorrow, I thought of today showing the enumerations, and we'll continue tomorrow. Okay, and we'll continue with the uh, dynamic arrays, and we'll see some more examples. And after this, I think we'll start ADO so that we can have some difficult examples, and I think at the time you guys should be have to be very active, and you have to give time at home for practicing also. Try different examples, and you may also find some examples on the Google. Just I'll show you how to search for it. Like if you want a example on loops, suppose first type VBA, then MS Access or Access, then what you want. You want a example loop. Uh, so many are there. You can try 2 or 3, whichever is understandable, whichever is having good example. You can try that. Okay. If you open 2 or 3 links, you should be able to find some good examples. Uh, for debug, you need to open the immediate window. Then only you can see the uh, debug.write. Otherwise, you won't be able to see the results. Okay, so I hope you guys will practice at home and will try some examples on your own. Anybody having any questions? So, so I'm terminating the class here. So we'll join again tomorrow. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mm.
Okay. Good night.